This has to be one of the craziest stories I've seen in the whole arena of transgender athletes competing in women's sports. And we've seen some crazy stuff, but this might just take the cake. We've got reporting here from the New York Post, and this headline, I can't even read it without laughing. Australian soccer team with 5 transgender players goes undefeated in women's tournament. Quote, huge difference in ability. 5. The Post reports an amateur Australian soccer team has stirred up controversy after the squad, which includes 5 transgender women, dominated a women-only tournament and claimed the $1,000 prize, according to a report. The Sydney-based Flying Bats FC went undefeated during the 4-week tournament, including one game in which one of the transgender women scored 6 goals en route to a 10-0 beatdown. The Daily Telegraph reported some parents pulled their daughters from matches over safety concerns. Officials from other soccer clubs in the Northwest Sydney League told the paper. They believe the Flying Bats, who are backed by Pride Football Australia, should instead play in the mixed gender games that include men and women. Our girls are here to play for fun and expect to play in the female competition. They did not sign up for a mixed competition, one senior club official said. Some of the parents were so concerned they wouldn't let their daughters play, the official continued. It was so disheartening for them to see the huge difference in ability. They're killing it. So before I get to the rest of the reporting here, I gotta tell you guys just about how crazy this is as a lifelong soccer fan and a lifelong soccer player. 10-0 is unheard of in a single match. That's like almost never happens. 6 goals, one player scoring 6 goals in one match, again, almost unheard of. I mean, they have something called a hat trick when you score 3 goals, and that's considered like a huge deal. And it doesn't happen super often that one player does that. But 6, a double hat trick, my gosh, people, this is just totally wild. However, the story gets even crazier when we get into some more of the details. Again, this reporting from the Post reads, Kiralee Smith, a spokesperson for Binary Australia, an advocacy group that maintains there are only 2 genders, told the Daily Telegraph that the league is putting the players at risk. She claimed that some girls were told not to complain or forfeit in protest for fear of repercussions. Oh, good, lovely. So now we're not just taking away women's sports and fairness and access and honestly endangering their safety, we're also silencing them and bullying them. Not only will you allow males to compete in your competition and beat you 10-0 and take away money, it's not even just the sake of the competition, it's a prize money from you unfairly, you will also shut up. And you will just do it without a word or you'll be canceled. You'll face repercussions. How lovely. Oh my. How lovely, guys. But the club, this club with the 5 transgender players, is just standing by this and insisting they did nothing wrong. Back to the Post here. The Flying Bats Football Club president, Jen Peden, defended the club's tournament victory and said the team stands for inclusion because, quote, trans women belong in the women's competition because that is the gender with which they identify. As a club, the Flying Bats FC stands strongly for inclusion and pride ourselves on safe, respectful, and fair play, the promotion of a supportive community for LGBTQIA+ players, officials, supporters, and the significant physical, social, and mental health benefits that participation in sport brings, especially to marginalized members of the LGBTQIA+ community. We are a club that values our cisgender and transgender players equally. And even the league is standing by this, not just the team at question. A spokesperson for Football NSW told the Daily Telegraph that the league takes pride, quote, in being at the forefront of developing inclusive policies for the sport in Australia and operates within the existing legal framework, including anti-discrimination legislation. You guys, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I feel like I'm losing it. 5 males in one soccer team, and they're just dominating the women's competition, destroying them 10-0, and they're saying, Yeah, nothing to see here. It's fine. We stand for diversity and inclusion and fairness and safety. What about fairness and safety for the women players? It's not safe in an intense, serious competition with prize money on the line to have males and females intermingling, especially when that's not what the female players signed up for. Again, I just end up feeling like I'm going crazy because it wasn't very long ago that the liberal feminist types were the ones demanding the importance and necessity of having a separate league for females because women need access to sports, it needs to be fair, they need a safe way they can play with other women. And now these same types are the ones just running a bulldozer over all of that. If you guys watch or listen to this show, you know, despite what haters might say, I am not somebody who's transphobic. I'm not somebody with any animosity towards trans people or any desire to control their lives or stop them from living their best lives however they see fit, doing whatever they want to do with their doctor, living how they live. I'll even accommodate it within reason and use pronouns and other stuff. It's really no skin off my back. But I will speak out against this insanity. One, because I find it just unfair and dangerous and offensive to women, and I feel compelled to speak out that harm is being done in the name of my community. And two, because even in the interest of the transgender people that I know and like and respect, we got to stop this. There is no better recipe in the world for a massive backlash against the trans community and the whole LGBT community than stuff like this. And I like covering stories from Australia and the UK on LGBT issues or other woke culture issues more generally because I think they're a couple years ahead of us. They started a lot of this stuff before we did. So I always see the madness there and you're like, oh, that could never happen here. And then a few years later, it's happening here too. So look at them as a warning. If we don't stop this stuff, if we don't arrest it in its tracks, we might end up in this kind of bizarro universe like we're seeing down under.